We got everything we need right here. Wine and burning chemistry. You and me alone. You and me alone. Inside of our embassy. Everything we need's right here. Make me sing along. Sing along. I never thought I'd ever be stuck by you. I never thought I'd ever be stuck by you. Oh, watch me dancing in the colors, lightning, blowing up a thunder, wash it over me. We got everything we need, right? Watch me dancing in the colors, lightning, blowing up a thunder, wash it over me. Yeah, we got everything we need right here. Moonlight on your naked skin, summer's blind us to giving. Where you wanna go, where you wanna go. Stars align onto your face, pretty sweet, your sour taste. Make me sing along, sing along. I never thought I'd ever be stuck by you. I never thought I'd ever be stuck by you. Oh, watch me dancing in the colors, lightning, blowing up a thunder, wash it over me. We got everything we need, right? Watch me dancing in the colors, lightning, blowing up a thunder, wash it over me. Yeah, we got everything we need right here. Sharing all your deepest dreams, wonder what they really mean, yeah. In the empty bottle lies all the answers. Write down all your memories, feel the things you wanna feel, yeah. In the empty bottle lies all the answers. Oh, watch me dancing in the colors, lightning, blowing up a thunder, wash it over me. We got everything we need, right? Watch me dancing in the colors, lightning, blowing up a thunder, wash it over me. Yeah, we got everything we need right here.
Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. Hope everyone is doing well. One in the chat if you can hear me, please. We're coming in nice and early on Sunday because I'm done for the day. And we've got some breaking news. Prince Harry doing an exclusive interview with The Guardian. Very exciting. Wasn't expecting this. I guess this is an early birthday present to us because Harry's birthday is tomorrow. And Meghan did what I guess you could call a confirmation. Well, let's have a look here. Confirmation that our man is at home. She posted this about an hour ago on the As Ever brand page when your boo is back in town. So I'm guessing that's a sign that he is back home. And heck, it is his birthday tomorrow. I thought some people were saying that he might stop over somewhere before he heads all the way home, but I'm sure Papa Sussex will want to be at home with his babies and his wifey for his birthday. And what an amazing few days he's had, right? In the run-up to his birthday. Even the haters have had to admit that the tour went so well, if you want to call it a tour. Unofficial royal tour. Even the haters, they don't even know what to say. There's almost nothing that they can say. They're pretty much dry on words. Because the only things that you could say without looking like a maniac is that Harry showed up, connected with the people, brought some attention to some good causes, and handled his business. There's really nothing else to say. I do also think that we're seeing a slight turn in the Sussex media strategy. The Guardian was given access for this interview. I don't believe that they're going to have anything to do with the major tabloids ever again, but at least the papers that have some sense of respectability, even if they want to tarnish it themselves, will still get some access. So The Guardian, for example, they have said some rather nasty things about the Sussexes. Some of their columnists have, but they're still relatively seen as a respectable paper. Also, The Telegraph has said some rather nasty things about the Sussexes, but they still did get access through one particular journalist that Harry seems to like talking to. I think, is it Bryony, her name is? She's visited the Sussexes in their home in Montecito. So there is some communication now going on with some parts of the British press that are more reputable, but I wouldn't expect them to be, talking to the worst of the Rotarats, who should never ever get access ever again. So we'll have a read of that article. We'll also have a rundown of Harry's incredible week, and then also we will look at this interesting tip-off that was given to an online site and what that could mean, if it means anything. I will let you all decide. So first of all, shout out to Rebecca at Duchess of Sussex. Sometimes I say my name and her name the same. She wrote this. Her Instagram, by the way, is incredible. Over 500,000 followers. I think she has more followers than the Sun. But this is a breakdown of Harry's incredible week. So on Monday, marked the 3rd anniversary of the Queen's passing, and in a private visit to St. George's Chapel, Harry laid some flowers. Harry also attended the Well Child Awards in the evening, honouring the courage of seriously ill children and their caregivers, a cause he has supported since 2007. And then on Tuesday, Harry went to Nottingham and joined a community event at the Community Recording Studio, which brings together local groups using art, music and sport to support young people, and also announced a £1.1 million donation to children in need. The fund projects address youth violence and its impact on young lives. And then on Wednesday, he went to White City, London, and returned to the Imperial College London Centre for Blast Injury Studies, which he opened 12 years earlier to meet researchers and veterans and hear updates on blast injury rehabilitation. He also announced a $500,000 donation to support children affected by the conflicts in Gaza and Ukraine. He then went to Clarence's house and met privately with Charles for around about an hour, we hear, and then went to the City of London and closed the day at the Invictus Games reception, greeting athletes, sponsors, and supporters. Thursday, Central London met with the went to the Princess Diana Award ceremony, spoke to young social action leaders about mental health, and delivered a tribute to his late mother, emphasizing her belief of the power of youth. And then on Friday, arrived in Ukraine overnight from Poland with a team from the Invictus Games Foundation after an official invitation from the Ukrainian officials. All of that in 1 week. You will be lucky to get that out of Kate and William in the first half of the year. I don't think that Kate and William's schedule even looks anything close to this. What Harry has done in 1 week. When you hear that they wanted Harry and Meghan to be 50% of themselves, this is why. This is how well coordinated, how well thought out, and how consistent Harry and Meghan move. It's actually incredible to look at that, to be honest. Just wow. I mean, this is the definition of prepare to be sick of me. Prepare to be sick of me. And this is, by the way, what we have seen Harry do in 1 week in public. We don't even know the half of what Harry and Meghan do and their team does in private. Just think about that, is all I'm going to say. Thank you so much to Zuri for the super chat. Thank you also for your compliment about the new look and the music. Please keep giving me your feedback about the new look. I actually wasn't sure if the new look was a little bit too minimalist, if it veered a little bit too much away from, a that royal look with the logo with the crown, or the flourishes that I used to have. But that's what I kind of wanted it to look like. I wanted my space now to look more like almost like a news site with still a little bit of fun and femininity. But I wanted to take a different direction visually, and I'm glad you all are liking it. If you don't like it, also tell me why. I'd love to hear why. It is a big change when you've had the same look for a while. Okay. By the way, I think this article about William being frustrated with Harry's last trip to the Ukraine. This one is quite old, but another one has popped up by Tom. Oh yeah, Tom Sykes, who used to be a William and Kate butt kisser. Prince Harry's lively UK tour is William's worst nightmare. Indeed, it is. But I think that, as we've said before, Harry being the spare, he knew that he had to work harder to have some kind of sense of identity, because he was always going to be in the shadow of William. Whereas William, set to be king, I think has just been lazy. William, and I think the courtiers, didn't think about the fact that somehow in their little bubble that they live in, didn't think about the fact that times are moving. So the kingship that William probably dreamt about as a young man, that's not going to happen. Like, you have to work, mate. And working doesn't just mean showing up to football matches. Okay, so next thing, this interesting tip-off from Demois. Now, I will say Demois, not the most reliable site. It is a gossip site. It's not a news site, but they have dropped some gems in the past. And they do get some exclusives. I've seen on their website people just out and about who've like caught Meghan, for example, at a restaurant and taken a sneaky picture. Demois does get exclusives like that sometimes. And some of their tip-offs do come true. And it was also Demois that posted the infamous Prince of Pegging blind. But there have been other hints of that in other media before. For example, there's an episode of South Park like years ago, sometime after William and Kate got married, that alluded to some of these interesting rumors. So this is what they posted. They posted, somebody sent an email, somebody with the email forest@lodge.com, subject British Royals. A royal announcement will be made either right before or after the upcoming funeral. Very significant, to say the least. So I think this is referring to, was it the something of Kent recently died? One of the royal relatives, Catherine, Duchess of Kent, wife of Prince Edward, Duke of Kent, and grandson of King George. Is it King George V? She recently passed away. I actually don't know who this lady is, to be honest. I don't know who she is, but she's a member of the British royal family and she passed away. So sometime after or before the funeral, I'm assuming they mean her funeral, a significant announcement will be made. I'm guessing it will likely be after. I don't think they would make a major announcement before a family funeral. If at all there is going to be an announcement. If there is an announcement, we're going to bookmark that. I'm not saying that this is true or not true. I'm just saying that I want us to just bookmark this in our minds, and then we'll see what happens and we'll come back to it. Because it'll be mighty interesting if it was. Now, the next question is, what is that announcement? What could it possibly be? Well, you can leave your comments and guesses. I know what my guesses are. I won't say them now, but it's things that we've talked about on this podcast many times. The fractures in certain people's marriages. There is one rumor swirling that the rift between Camilla and Charles is so big that even they could possibly divorce. I don't believe that. That if that actually happened, that will knock the wind out of me. Literally. That would be the biggest plot twist in royal history if that was to happen. Having said that, I'm actually wondering, given that Camilla seems to be very, very thirsty for power, goodness knows what she might try to do if she was still married to Charles when he passes. So I don't know. But I think for most people, they're alluding to another royal divorce. We will see. Vanessa Jones, you said, why does the government pay them for the work that they perform? Are you talking about the royals? Well, there's the public purse, which is the sovereign grant, and then the private money that they get through the duchies, which is the renting of land and property. Lafaz, yeah, I'm tired of William and Kate getting praised for the most mundane things. Just today, there was an article in the Daily Mail about Kate tying up her hair. I kid you not. Rhonda, you said, this is quite intriguing, wondering what it could be. Well, it could be nothing, like I said. But I found it very intriguing that this would come out at this time. And we'll just see. Bookmark it. We'll come back to this. Someone said something about Sophie. Oh, Heather, you said Sophie had a meeting with Charles before he met Harry. Okay, I didn't hear about that, but are you maybe trying to allude to something going on between Sophie and Edwina? Sharon, nah, they can't peel Camilla off, not even with paint stripper. Listen, at this point, anything can happen because that institution is a shambles. That institution is a bigger shambles than partygoers falling out the nightclubs of Soho. All right, next thing is let's go on to Harry's interview. Now, I haven't read it, so first time we're reading it together. This came out literally like 3-4 hours ago. Let me just get the link. Where are we now? Okay, so Harry says in The Guardian, my conscience is clear. Prince Harry on Ukraine, his family, and the media. In an exclusive, the Duke talks about the cost of war, his betrayal in the press, and boxing as The Guardian joins him on his visit in Ukraine. It's about midnight. It's raining. A small group is huddled around a lonely roadside cafe somewhere near the border between Poland and Ukraine, getting wet in the drizzle, sharing cartons of chips and bottles of beer. One of the men wonders out loud why on earth the owner of the cafe would choose to close now, when surely this must have been the busiest it has ever been, stuck out here in the middle of nowhere with a captive and hungry audience. Everyone laughs. It turns out Prince Harry can be quite funny. It helps to keep things jolly as the security detail work out how to ferry everyone from here to the train that will take them on a secretly planned trip to Kiev. The aim of the visit is to promote the work of the Duke of Sussex's Invictus Games Foundation and to celebrate the recovery and rehabilitation of the thousands of veterans there who have suffered life-changing injuries since the war with Russia began 3 years ago. Because of the sheer numbers of wounded, Invictus has become incredibly well known in Ukraine, and Harry, somewhat surprisingly, has achieved cult hero status. Very interesting. The Guardian accompanies him on the journey to the capital, something of a gamble for both sides. As Harry nodded, he is suspicious of the media, and the Guardian has long been critical of the monarchy. And over the next 36 hours, we learn a lot, big and small, about this complex, conflicted man. He doesn't like posing for stage photographs, and he doesn't like cycling. I have a bony ass. But we've seen you cycling, Harry. So that bony ass must like cycling a little bit. He likes to box to relieve his frustration. Hitting the hell out of a bag, he says, helps him to decompress. In private, he is very informal, padding around in his socks on the train and to and from Kiev and making dare jokes. In public, he has a confident voice and an easy charm with strangers, but on his own, he is softly spoken and asks questions about people and about politics. He has views. He is not, he says, the unhappy man some of the press like to portray him as, but yes, he wants to spend more time in the UK. Really, Harry? You do? Does he regret putting his side of the story in the very public way he has? No, he doesn't. My conscience is clear, he says. He talks a little about his mother Diana and his father too. If Invictus is his professional priority, it seems clear his father is a personal one. But all that comes out on the way back to the UK. What is happening in Ukraine is the immediate concern, and for good reason. The statistics are shocking and they are on the rise. The war has left at least 130,000 people with life-changing injuries, many of them double and triple amputees or with disfigured faces. With no sign of the conflict ending, the government has put using sports as a way to help the recovery and rehabilitation of these veterans at the heart of a national policy. And that means Invictus Games is at the heart of that national policy, by the way. And the country's prime minister, Yulia, has turned to Invictus for inspiration and help. That's the lady in the bottom picture wearing the beige coat with Harry. They're kind of standing in the dark there. Ukrainians themselves have embraced the whole concept. The men and women who have taken part in the Invictus Games have become national heroes and front page news, but these competitions only involve small numbers and the need is vast. So Invictus has been devising programs to help veterans all over the country to get access to sports facilities. At a reception on Friday morning, the Invictus team are guests at the National Museum of the History of Ukraine in the Second World War, where they meet ministers and dozens of recovering wounded. And it's here that Prince Harry's popularity amongst Ukrainians becomes clear. The injured want to talk to him. The mothers and fathers of the wounded and dead want to shake his hand or hug him. He is cheered and clapped at every turn, as are his colleagues. It's amazing. We never expected this level of recognition, says Olga Rudevna, the founder and CEO of the Superhumans Trauma Center in Lviv, which has worked closely with Invictus in Ukraine. Ordinary people know who he is. We honestly didn't know he had become such a celebrity. I think Prince Harry coming here is a symbol of victory and power. People look at him and his military experience and they see he is not afraid to come to Ukraine. It is so important that he came. For this and for other causes he is passionate about, Harry accepts his front and center role and does it willingly. Encouraging those who have been seriously injured to find a purpose outside the military is one of his messages. I would say that I have been fortunate, he says. The one thing that people miss when they hang up their uniform is purpose, losing a sense of community and being part of a team, and of course, the camaraderie and adrenaline. But at the heart of it is your job. Your role is serving a purpose larger than yourself. His work for Invictus, he says, has given him that after his military career. It saved me. Changing attitudes across society about disabled people is another core message. Seeing people with prosthetics and life-changing injuries is going to be the norm in Ukraine for the coming decades, he says to The Guardian. Nobody should feel embarrassed or ashamed about their disabilities. It's about flipping from sympathy to admiration and respect. That is incredible. because that's actually not something that I would have thought about. People see people who have prosthetics or disabilities and they think different, they think other, and the world is built around able-bodied people. Such is the need for men and women to fight the war. Some of the wounded have even ended up back in the military. Wow. Just fast forward and see if there's anything else from Harry. Oh, so Harry, they go to a memorial and Harry says, I wanted to find a spot to lay my flowers in peace away from everyone. My God, it's like amazing there. I didn't anticipate how far back it went. Honestly, it's one of the saddest things I've ever seen, but also one of the most beautiful. The war, he suggests, could and should have been avoided. It is also unnecessary. After this visit, the prince disappears. His car heads off away from the convoy for about an hour, and when he returns to the group, he is coy and tight-lipped. The suspicion is that he's gone to meet Zelensky, but neither he or the president wants to admit it. Wow. Zelensky is a champion of the Invictus Games and had made it known he wanted to meet the prince. The British government had made it known to Zelensky it would rather he did not. Ooh, whoa, diplomatic drama. Diplomatic tea. That was the chat in diplomatic circles, at least. The theory was that giving the rebel royal a platform might not be smart politics on a day that Britain's new Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper was also in town. But only one Briton is making any headlines in Ukraine on Friday. Well, that just show how much more impactful and what soft power Harry has in comparison to anybody in Parliament right now? Yeah, that should tell you what you lost. That should tell Keir Starmer and the Home Secretary why it is they need to give Harry security. Instead, they're dragging their feet. The trip comes to an end. The trip in Ukraine comes at the end of a very busy week for Harry. Okay, it just goes on talking about the trip, which we've talked about already. Let's fast forward to... During the trip, some elements of the tabloid press have published stories that left his team with their heads in their hands. Oh gosh, I feel sorry for them. It appears to make Harry more certain of the need to take the papers who he says have unfairly targeted him and his family. Amen. The prince, along with Dorian Lawrence and Elton John, among others, is suing Associated Newspapers, a publisher of the Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday. Make sure to watch yesterday's podcast because I talk about the fact that it was Harry that told Dorian Lawrence that the Daily Mail was spying on her, and I go into detail about that in yesterday's podcast, so don't miss that. Go and watch. So a trial is due to start in January. Harry says, yes, I have enjoyed the week. I have always loved the UK and will always love the UK. It's been good to reconnect with the causes I am passionate about. I have been able to spend some time with people that I have known for so long. It's hard to do it so far away. He adds, it is only in certain elements of the press where you see this talk about me being down or saying I'm not smiling. This comes from people who think they know what I am thinking and how I am feeling. They are wrong. I think parts of the British press want to believe that I am miserable, but I am not. I'm very happy with who I am and like the life that I live. If he hasn't always seemed cheerful, then that is hardly surprising given what he has been through, he says. Exactly. Like, do these people expect that Harry would have had the smile of SpongeBob going through everything that he went through? He lost a child. His wife was almost bullied to unaliving herself. Like, get real. The unhappiness they saw was the unhappiness caused by them. The happiness he has now is the happiness that he has with his wife, his family, and his circle of friends, and his freedom, more than anything. I have certainly had to deal with some very stressful events over the last 4 years. There has been the uncertainty and stress of the litigation and finding out certain things that have really, really hurt. He believes there is a disconnect between what is written about him by some commentators and what most other people think. He says, I feel a lot of support from the British public even now when I feel like I have been destroyed by certain members of the British press. It serves them to think that the British public feels the same way about me as they do. But I don't feel that, and I don't see that. For as long as I've known, certain elements of the British press have tried to speak on behalf of the nation. I think they are out of touch with the nation on a lot of things. I think so too. They hope to bring the public with them I think the British public can speak and think for themselves. Would he like to spend more time in the UK to bring his children one day, despite the issues over security arrangements? Harry says, yes, I would. This week has definitely brought that closer. Harry won't talk about his father, but he seems to suggest he wants and needs to see his father more often. Over the coming year, he says, the focus really has to be on my dad. That's very interesting he says that, especially considering that Charles is ill and Charles has been less than cooperative, to say the least, and to put it nicely. Harry mentions his wife Meghan only once by name, a reference to something she told him about how telling the truth is the most efficient way to live. She said, just stick to the truth. It is the thing I always fall back on, always. And if you think like that, who would be stupid enough to lie? It takes up too much time and effort. Which brings him to the very public things he has said about his life, the interviews, the TV series, and the book he wrote, Spare. I know that speaking out annoys some people, and it goes against the narrative. The book, it was a series of corrections to stories already out there. One point of view had been put out and it needed to be corrected. He adds, I don't believe that I aired my dirty laundry in public. It was a difficult message, but I did it in the best possible way. My conscience is clear. Being called stubborn slightly rankles with him. It's not stubbornness, it is having principles. It seems he does not want to prolong any legal battles. He does not ever expect to get positive coverage from some quarters. A ceasefire is perhaps the best he can hope for. It's not about revenge, it is about accountability, he says. Nor does he want to prolong any divisions with his family. But in life, you cannot have reconciliation before you have truth. Exactly. That is such a powerful statement. You cannot have reconciliation before you have truth. And I have said over and over again, when it comes to the other royals, the truth will set them free. It is better to light the match and put that match to your own bum and feel the burn than to have somebody else come and do it. The burn will be worse because then they get to profit. So Harry, who turns 41 tomorrow, appears a bit bemused by his popularity in Ukraine. By the end of the visit, he has so many bags of presents to take home, including a dagger hidden inside an ornate walking stick. They take up most of the free space in the back of the private jet that returns him to the UK. He puts it down to the fact that he served 10 years in the army and the way Ukrainians have adopted the ideas of the Invictus Foundation. He's told that Rudneva thought part of the reason people liked, I think that's one of the officials, thought part of the reason people liked him was because he is quite Ukrainian in his attitude in life. He does his own thing in his own way. You know who else did that? Says the prince. My mum. Wow. What? That is actually an incredible interview from The Guardian. Credit where credit is due. Round of applause to The Guardian. They got some very interesting details from him. I'm very happy with that. Are you lot? I feel like we got a lot there. Like, wow. We were really fed in that interview. And Meghan, her advice to her husband is correct. It is the truth. When you tell the truth, that is the most powerful thing. Because I think for Harry's mum, her truth got spun with the lies of the tabloids and the firm. So putting your side of the story out there, it will always be out there. No matter what the tabloids and the institution wants to say, that Martin Bashir interview is still there. And if they want to dismiss the Martin Bashir interview because of how he was able to get that interview, well, the Andrew Morton book is still there. And that's why the truth is important. So that it doesn't matter if they come and pay off the writers of The Crown to spin things in a different way. Your truth will still stand in history. Okay. Let's have a read through some of your comments. Hi, if you're just joining us, please hit that thumbs up button and please do subscribe. I have a goal to get Doctors of Success to 100,000 subscribers. Yes, that is the goal. That is 100% the goal. Also, if you like more short form content, granted, I am reposting all of my short form content onto my YouTube now, but if you like TikTok and you're over there, definitely go and follow on TikTok. Let me just put the link in the chat because I always post the short form stuff on TikTok first before I post over here. So if you want to follow your girl on TikTok, there is the link. I'm actually really happy that I got back on TikTok now because I had no idea how much the TikTok royal space, how big it had grown. Like, it's actually massive over there. I think the TikTok space is actually bigger than the YouTube space. But I think it's a matter of preference, right? Some people like short form content, other people like long form content. And I'm absolutely happy now to make both. I avoided doing TikTok for a long time just because I didn't want the heaviness of, doing like both types of content. But I'm in a much better space now, as I, explained to those of you who were listening to the podcast yesterday. I feel so much more excited now about getting back on doing the podcast daily. And that also means I feel I'm a lot more fired up to make more content, even like writing content. I've been writing some stuff this week. So I'm super excited. I feel like this is like Duchess of Success 3.0 with the joy of Duchess of Success 1.0. The joy has come back. Yes, to 100,000. Oh, thank you so much for following on Tiki. Thank you so much, Paulina. Okay. Was there anything else that let me just double check through my slides. No, that was pretty much all for now. Thank you as always, folks. Don't forget to please hit that like button on your way out. If you're listening and you're not a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button also, and make sure to check out the links in the description box if you would like to contribute to the Duchess of Success podcast. You can either buy me a coffee or PayPal. Appreciate you all, though, just showing up. That is always more than enough. Just your presence here is enough. Just your presence here in this community. And I'm so excited for all the amazing things that Harry and Meghan have. I know that there are also some challenges, but I feel like once we get over those challenges, it's like we're going to be good. There's the Daily Fail court case. I think there might be one other case pending with a private investigator that was trying to spy on Meghan in the US. I don't think the Samantha Markle court case, I haven't even been covering that because I think it's an absolute farce and it's not going to go anywhere. It's just background noise at this point. The Heritage Foundation, for now, I haven't heard anything about them, but they are affiliated with that orange man. And I mean, I'm hoping they've just realized that they've made an embarrassment of themselves. From the last thing we heard about them, they wanted access to certain court documents, and then the court documents came out and they were redacted or something. So I'm hoping maybe that has embarrassed them enough to leave Harry alone. But you never know with these people. They're very desperate and very evil. But for the most part, I think some amazing positive things are coming. And once we get over those challenges, like, we're in a much better place now than we were a few years ago. And so here's to all the positive things. All right, folks, let's dance our way out. Thank you as always. Ciao.
We got everything we need right here. Wine and burning chemistry. You and me alone. You and me alone. Inside of our embassy. Everything we need's right here. Make me sing along. Sing along. I never thought I'd ever be stuck by you. I never thought I'd ever be stuck by you. Oh, watch me dancing in the colors, lightning blowing up a thunder, wash it over me. watch me dancing in the colors, lightning, blowing up a thunder, wash it over me, yeah. We got everything we need right here. Dreams, wonder what they really mean, yeah. In the empty bottle lies all the answers. Write down all your memories, feel the things you wanna feel, yeah. In the empty bottle lies all the answers. Oh, watch me dancing in the colors, lightning, blowing up a thunder, wash it over me. We got everything we need, right? Watch me